America is about to be ripped apart by nature itself. And I mean literally split down the middle. What I'm about to show you will challenge everything you thought you knew about February weather. While millions of Americans prepare to bask in record-breaking heat, millions of others are about to face a life-threatening Arctic nightmare. The atmosphere above us is staging the most dramatic performance I've witnessed in years. Our jet stream, that invisible highway controlling all our weather, is about to execute a split so severe it'll create two completely different countries within the same borders. This isn't just another weather pattern. This is meteorological warfare on a continental scale. Picture this unfolding right now as we speak. A massive Arctic air mass is building over the Great Lakes in Canada, preparing to unleash its fury across the East Coast and Northeast. But here's where this story gets absolutely wild. On the complete opposite side of the country, a record-breaking heat wave is simultaneously building across the Great Plains and West Coast. We're talking about a temperature difference so extreme that some areas will experience drops of 40 degrees in just hours, while others surge to nearly 40 degrees above normal. It's like Mother Nature took a giant sword and slashed America right down the middle, declaring one side gets winter and the other gets summer. This weekend marks the beginning of something extraordinary. That Arctic blast I mentioned? It arrives tonight and tomorrow, sweeping through the Ohio Valley and East Coast with dangerous, potentially life-threatening cold. Temperatures will plummet so fast in some locations that your breath will freeze before it leaves your mouth. But the story doesn't end there. As this frozen fury grips the eastern half of our nation, conditions become perfect for something millions of Americans haven't prepared for: heavy snowfall across Kentucky, Ohio, Virginia, and yes, even North Carolina. Areas that just experienced significant snow days ago are about to get hit again. Meanwhile, that record-breaking warmth continues building like a pressure cooker across the central and western United States. We're talking about a large plume of tropical moisture surging north, bringing widespread record-breaking heat and creating long-term severe weather implications that extend far beyond this immediate event. Late next week delivers the climax of this atmospheric drama. A powerful clash between these two opposing air masses will set the stage for even more snowfall across the Great Lakes and Northeast. It's like watching two massive armies position themselves for an epic battle, with millions of Americans caught in the crossfire. Let me walk you through the specific timeline of this unfolding chaos, because understanding when and where this hits becomes crucial for your safety and preparation. Right now, we have that Arctic air mass building over the Great Lakes in Canada, like a coiled spring ready to release its energy. Sunday brings the full force of this Arctic invasion. That frigid air mass will encompass the entire East Coast, while very warm air continues building in the Midwest, Great Plains, and West Coast. The contrast becomes so stark, you could draw a temperature map that looks like a science fiction movie. By the beginning and middle of next week, something remarkable happens. That Arctic air moves offshore, and the heat begins building across the central United States like nothing we've seen this winter. This creates the perfect setup for larger storm systems to develop over the Rockies by midweek. This could open doors for severe weather to return, maybe even more snow chances extending as far south as Kansas, Arkansas, and Tennessee. We're not ruling anything out at this point, because the evolution of these air masses by midweek holds the key to understanding what comes next. The middle of February brings even more uncertainty, but also more potential for dramatic weather. At some point, we're looking at a pretty significant Arctic blast unleashing again. The polar vortex will likely release more significant Arctic air, and I'm leaning toward the third week of February for that to happen. Now let me show you the actual temperature differences we're talking about, because the numbers are staggering. Saturday morning brings widespread areas with temperatures 30 degrees below normal across Pennsylvania, Maryland, and extending as far south as South Carolina. That's not just cold, that's historically significant cold. Sunday and Monday continue this Arctic siege across the Northeast, with dangerous and potentially life-threatening conditions on the table. But here's where the story takes that incredible twist. Monday and Tuesday deliver a significant heat wave across other parts of the country. Look at what Monday brings us. Areas in Iowa, Nebraska, and South Dakota could see temperatures almost 40 degrees above average. That's absolutely crazy for February, especially considering what we've already experienced with Arctic blasts and major winter storms over recent weeks. By the middle and end of next week, a secondary Arctic air mass could make its way across the Great Lakes and East Coast. This one doesn't look as significant right now, but it could bring additional snow chances to areas already dealing with winter weather fatigue. Today's high temperatures tell the story perfectly. If you're near the Gulf Coast or Southern Plains, many areas are hitting the 70s, even pushing toward 80 degrees. But look at that spiral formation up in Canada. That's our Arctic blast preparing to unleash across the Ohio Valley and Northeast. Saturday and Sunday bring the temperature plummet. Many areas will go sub-zero, accompanied by snow possibilities that could create dangerous travel conditions. Then, by late Sunday and Monday, that cold air lingers in the Northeast, while incredible warmth builds elsewhere. Monday becomes absolutely crazy warm across the Great Plains. Cities like Des Moines will approach 70 degrees, which is super abnormal for this time of year. Tuesday and Wednesday continue this warm air dominance, definitely breaking lots of records and creating a rare winter pattern we just don't see often in February. Back in the Carolinas, the contrast becomes almost surreal. North and South Carolina areas like Raleigh, that saw significant snowfall just days ago, are looking at temperatures near 67 degrees by week's end. It's the kind of weather whiplash that challenges everything we think we understand about seasonal patterns. By the end of the week, another cold front likely stretches down into the southeast. Areas along the east coast remain below average, while the southern plains and west coast stay above average through at least the middle of February. Now let's talk about the snow threats, because we're tracking at least two different possibilities over the next 7 days. The first one starts today, with light to moderate snowfall already spreading across the Midwest, Great Lakes, and Northeast. We're seeing pockets of moderate to heavy snow, even some snow squalls today. These create very rapid visibility reduction, with heavy snowfall in isolated locations. If you're traveling today across the Ohio Valley, you need to be extremely alert for rapidly changing conditions. Late tonight and early tomorrow morning bring very heavy snowfall, especially in the Appalachian Mountains near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. These locations could easily push toward 4 or even 5 inches of snow, with areas in the Appalachian Mountains potentially approaching a foot. Wind gusts will be very high across the Northeast on Friday and Saturday, putting blizzard conditions on the table this weekend. Even though this won't bring significant snowfall for most areas, wind gusts reaching 30 to 40 miles per hour in some locations will create blowing snow problems. Saturday becomes particularly problematic as the pressure gradient between high and low pressure systems tightens significantly. This increases wind speeds and creates serious blowing snow risks. Be extremely cautious if you're traveling across the Mid-Atlantic or Northeast, especially since many areas still have over a foot of snow on the ground. Late Saturday and Sunday bring clearing, but another Alberta clipper becomes possible for the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic. Virginia and areas near Raleigh, North Carolina could see snow falling before temperatures surge into the mid to upper 60s by week's end. Talk about weather whiplash at its finest. The early to middle portion of next week brings a low-pressure system over the Rockies, potentially creating a large area of light snowfall, stretching from Nevada, where they desperately need snow for skiing conditions, all the way into the Northeast. This won't bring anything too significant, but if the system strengthens unexpectedly, we'll definitely keep you informed. Light to moderate snow becomes possible in the upper Midwest Tuesday and Wednesday. If you're in the Rockies or along the West Coast, this is great news for skiers, since there's been hardly any snow this year in areas like Salt Lake City, Utah. The contrast here is remarkable. Salt Lake City usually sees over 50 inches by this time of year, but they've basically seen nothing. We're talking under an inch of snow total. Meanwhile, the Carolinas have seen well above average snowfall, upwards of over a foot. Even Florida has recorded spots with over an inch of snowfall this winter. Wednesday and Thursday, I'll be monitoring continuation of snowfall across the Northeast. We could have another storm system by week's end moving into the Central Plains, perhaps into the Tennessee Valley. This could bring heavier snowfall, maybe even severe weather possibilities. This Arctic blast comes with very significant winds late tonight and tomorrow, potentially prompting blizzard conditions for parts of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Pennsylvania and New Jersey will be most impacted, with many areas still having over a foot of snow on the ground from previous storms. Wind gusts will reach New England late tomorrow night and Sunday, hitting 30, 40, even 50 miles per hour in some locations. This lingers into late Sunday and early Monday before eventually tapering off across the East Coast. While this Arctic blast won't bring massive snowfall totals unless you're in the Appalachian Mountains, we're expecting widespread coating to 3 inches for most of New England. Areas like western New York could easily pick up 4 to 5 inches. Right in the Appalachian Mountain Range, some locations will push toward winter storm criteria. Winter storm warnings are already in effect for areas that could see around 8 to 10 inches of snow by late Sunday. This weather pattern showcases nature's incredible ability to create continental-scale drama. We're witnessing 2 completely different seasons occupying the same country simultaneously. And it's all happening because our atmosphere decided to stage the ultimate split-screen performance across America.